Okay, welcome everybody to tonight's photo finish. We're going to talk about the David Kingham's new plugin called Rethink Landscape. And so I've got a few images here that I pulled off, and I'm going to go through. My magnification thing that it's not real well, but at least you don't have to sit there and squint to see what I'm pointing at on my Lightroom thing. So I will, let me see if I can get that up. There it is, magnifier. Okay, I got that up. Let me share my screen. Where are you? There you go. Okay, you guys see the whatever, the hills, the painted desert? Yes? Okay. Okay, so what this is, let me magnify here so you can see the Lightroom. I'm in library module right now, and over here we have the catalog and all this. We've gone over this. Let me get to, okay, so I'm in my little collection. Make these smaller here. And I'm going to go to develop module. And once you install this thing, it's they reside here in your presets. So we've got 7 different sections. We have the core prep, which is kind of like preparing the file, and then we have this is the landscape style launch, where there's several different things to choose from, but you just pick one and then you move on to the next, and then you go over the tonal adjustments. This is where you get the lights and your darks where you want them, and then the next section is the color adjustments, and then number 5 is different details. You can, contrast and different pinpoints. And then there's effects here, different effects, which are really cool. I love doing that. And then the last one, see, what David did was he put together masks. He created very detailed masks where you choose what mask you want, and then some of them have adjustments made to them. Some of them you get the opportunity to make your own adjustments. And this last one here, he just says basic, a brush mask or a linear gradient mask and that kind of thing. We'll go over all of them, and I'll show you what they are. I just wanted to show you where they all are over here on my left-hand side. I am going to use my magnifier, and that's going to magnify the whole screen. So you're not going to be able to see everything, but I'm going to hopefully get everything on the left where you can see that. So let me do that. Okay. So, excuse me. We're going to open up the little triangle here. And he starts out with an import setting. And what that does is you can click on it here to start with a brand new image. But now this is an older image that I took. My new images, I actually take these settings and I actually put them in when I import my photos, so they're already there. And what this does is it just takes the image, it basically presses the auto button. So if you've ever been out in the field and you take a photo and it's, like really dark, and you want the dark, you want it, you purposely underexposed it, because there's either bright light in one area and you want to have that control. But then you get it on your computer, and half the time you can't see it because it's so small, and so what this does is it brightens it up, so when you're culling, you're going through all your images, deciding if it's good, whether you want to process it or not, you can actually see what it is. That's what this is. Excuse me. Now if you look up here in the navigator screen, when I hover over, you see what it does. So I will click on that. and you can see what it did to the image. It really brightened it up. Now this isn't how I would want to keep it. Sometimes it is. Doesn't look that bad, I guess, but anyway, so this is what it does to the image when you click on the import settings. And then you go to the next. Basically, this is kind of like a step-by-step program. And when I first downloaded this, started using it in August, I went through every single selection here, and I found that I don't need most of them. There's just a few that I really use all the time, and then the other ones are just there if I need them. But what I want to do is just show you what is available. I'm not going to go into so much detail. So what happens when you import, we got this import setting here, and like I said, when you go through, he'll show you how to create this into an import dialog, where when you take new pictures and you import them in, they already have that preset applied. So then when, let's say, okay, this one I want to do this picture, I want to edit it, I want to work on it, and then it'll zero out all the settings. So everything, this is how it was straight from the camera. Okay, so then he has a selection here. Now this one doesn't do anything. This is just kind of like a marker. This is where he wants you to merge your HDR. If you've got like multiple exposures, this is where you would merge your panels. This is where you would do your focus stacking. Get all of the image merging done before you go into the other sections. It doesn't do anything. It's just kind of like an instruction. Now this next one is the denoise. This is the AI version of the denoise, and he put this in here because Adobe had come up with a hierarchy to do this, in this order, so that you don't have to constantly refresh that little. Sometimes if you've been working, I don't know if you've seen that in Lightroom, there's a little cog wheel next to your masking wheel. And if it turns yellow, that means that you have to refresh your AI. If you choose an AI thing and then you do something else, and it has to refresh. So denoise is usually on the top. They want you to do that first. Now, since using it, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves with this program, is it really slows everything down. And I just thought it was my computer for the longest time. And I just thought, man, oh man, I just bought this computer. Well, 5 years, I guess it's pretty old for a computer, but I paid a lot of money for it, and I really don't want to get rid of it. And the other day, I happened to watch a YouTube video, and this guy said, he basically was going through, he says, all the AI products that you use really can slow the performance down on your computer. And the biggest one is your denoise. And I thought, wow. So I'm not going to denoise until the end. I have held off. The last week I've been processing and leaving the denoise part to the end, which is when I used to do it before, because half the time I don't know if I need to denoise until I'm almost ready to be done with it. And then if I see noise, that's when I'll use it. But so David has come out with an upgrade. I have not upgraded yet, because I kind of forgot about it and I was on vacation when I got the email. I'll have to do that probably. I was going to do it earlier, but I thought, no, I don't want to do that and screw up all the stuff that I already know. Anyway, so I am going to leave the denoise to the end. Also in this, so raw details, that is another thing you can use in your detail panel that I really don't know what it does. I think it kind of just makes everything a little bit sharper. If you don't want to use the denoise part, but you can use raw details. I don't ever use it. Super resolution, that again is with the detail. If you have a small image, if you cropped a lot and you want to make it bigger, that's what you use, super resolution. And again, I don't use that very often. I've got a 45 megapixel camera. I don't crop that much, and if I do, it's usually just going on a phone. So I really don't care. Okay, so the next section here is the remove distractions. And again, this, I know this is really hard to see here on the left. He has little icons. If you have a Mac, those icons will look really cool. They look like, you see in, your little emojis. But on a Windows computer, this is what they look like. But this icon is an I, so that stands for information. Basically, this is something that you should do in this order. So remove distractions. So this is when I would go in and say, okay, let's see, go in. If I don't like something, like, okay, down here, this is a little bit of a distraction. I'll get rid of this little bit of white. I don't think I need to use the AI, so I'm gonna uncheck that, and I'm just gonna get rid of that little bit of snow there. There, perfect. So I did something. All right, let's go back. And in that vein, we also have visualized dust spots. Now, what David had created, and this is pretty cool. Normally when we click on the visualized dust spots in the cleanup section, and it's black and white, right? And then you see the spots. Well, he created this. I don't know what he did, but this will find spots that you won't find in the black and white. Now right here you can see there's one. That is a dust spot. So let me go over and clean that up. Turn that off. So what this did, if you can see here, there's a little round circle. That means it created a mask. So the mask is over this entire image, and it made these colors all wonky so you can see any of the spots. I have found that you can't always see them, so I will go in now. I'm hitting the mask key, and I'm just going to delete this because I don't need these. I don't need these colors here anymore. But if you go into the remove tool key and click on visualize spots, now this is probably a bad one because there's no sky. And this magnifier here, let's bring it down a little bit. So I really don't see any other dust spot looking thing. So I'm going to turn that off. And go back, and where are we? Visualize. That's where we were. So then now there's no sky here. This is another AI generated mask that it created an AI mask with sky and a linear gradient. And when you click on, I'm not going to do it on this image because I don't have any sky, but it will bring down the gradient only where there's sky, and then it'll darken it. So then you can adjust the amount, and sometimes, most of the time, your sky is always really, really bright, and this will tone that down some. Okay, so the next is lens corrections. And over here, and I don't understand why I already have them clicked. I do that automatically when I import. He recommends there's only one. I don't understand it. There's also another one of these called lens correction Sony, because however he created this, the Sonys, you have to do them differently. I don't know how. I don't have a Sony, so I just removed it. Alright, and then here, we're going to go. Now look up here again at the navigator panel, the image, and I'm going to highlight. I'm not going to click on it because then we got to delete it. He has a thing here where you can evaluate your composition shapes. It's basically a black and white, and then it blurs it. So all you're seeing are shapes and tones, so you get the dark and the light, and you can see where the shapes are. And if you want to take some creative license and crop or do whatever, a lot of times looking at it in black and white, removing the color, can give you a better perspective. And then if you go to the next one, it's just the negative, so the whites are dark and the darks are white. So you can see what that looks like. Again, you can click on it This will create a mask, like you can see the little circle here. But every time you create a mask, just to look at something, you have to go and delete it. You don't have to delete it, but if you keep all these masks in your lineup, it really slows down. Well, it does me. Try it. If you get this and you try it and you realize that nothing's slowing you down, leave them there. Okay, this one I really like. So white balance. I'm going to click on that, and what this does is it took the vibrance and saturation sliders and cranked them to 100. And this, when you do it now, I used to do this by hand years ago. Well, I've always done it, but let me inch up here so we can see. So this gives you an easier way to fix your white balance. And if you got it too light, you're going to get a lot of yellow here. I'm going to bring that blue in a little bit. There's a lot of orange. These rocks are difficult here, so you don't want to get it too red. You don't want it too green. The things that are green are these bushes, so we can kind of look at the bushes to see where no, that's just way too green. So you just kind of play with it, but it's easier to see when you really crank up the saturation to see where the colors are. So I like it a little cooler. That was pretty much daylight. It was middle of the day when I took this. There. Okay. And just take that amount slider, and now you can see this is. It looks pretty awful, but give me time. We'll get there. Okay, so that was the last one. And this is, like I said, this was the core prep. This is where you start to prep, and a lot of times. If you like to process, some people really get into it and they want to just tear it down and make it as flat and as lifeless as possible so they can build back the colors and the tones and the contrasts where they want. If you like to do that, this is an unbelievable thing. You're going to love this. I don't particularly like to do that very often because I think it's pointless. Sometimes when I get the picture out of the camera, that's exactly how I like it. But for sake of this tutorial, I'm going to go through it. All right, so this next one, this is a style launch. And if you, after we're done, I'm going to give you a link. I think the link is actually on the website where you can listen to him talk about it. He can explain things a lot better because he created it. So on this, the style launch, this is where you just need to click one. Oh, I can't, everything's so slow. Sorry, guys. Uh-oh. Okay. So what he recommends, we've got this DR is dynamic range. So you can choose a low dynamic range, medium, high, or extreme. And to tell, we go over to the histogram. Here is our histogram, and this there's quite a bit of lights left. It's not right up to the edge. It is up to the edge in the dark, so I would probably categorize this image as medium to high dynamic range. So you look at that, and then you come back over here, and then you decide: do you want low contrast? Do you want medium contrast? High contrast? Or do you want to work into an adaptive? That's where you're going to get more AI. And then HDR, I don't know if any of you played with it. I don't use the HDR, the new HDR feature. Yeah, it's pointless for me. I don't like all that technical stuff. So I usually go with the lower medium contrast because then I can add more in later. So now I'm looking at this navigator panel here to see what it's going to look like. So here is the medium contrast. There's the low that really brightens it up. Now let's see with the medium dynamic range. Medium contrast and high. I like this. I like this one. So I'm going to click on this. And this moves the sliders here in the basic panel. and then this is where you get a lot of your punch back into the image. And you're by no means are you stuck just using these. You can go over here and, you know, play with the sliders. I'm like, oh, it's a little bright. Let me bring that down. I can do that. I can do whatever I want. There's no hard and fast rule. And they're made to be like that. This is kind of like a starting point. So you just pick the one and you're done with the second part. Now you go to number 3, which is tonal adjustments. So I'll click on that. And he has here, again, with the black and white, where you can evaluate your tones. I'm not going to click on it because I don't want to have to delete that. It's just way too many clicks. But you can, you know, if you've got a big enough navigator panel, you can just look at it. You don't really need all that. That's fine. Looks good to me. And then you have all these different selections. And I'm not going to click on every one. It will be here all night long. But you can add contrast. This is a mask. Like I said, the little circle is a mask. You can lift the shadows with the mask. Let me see what I like. I think I want to lift some shadows. I usually click on this one. So I'm going to click on Lift Shadows. And I'm going to go over to my masking panel and bring that up. And you can see here it is, my Lift Shadows. I'm going to click on it. Come on. There we go. Get it out of the way here. Basically, I want to lift up these shadows in here. Now, if you look, if you hover over, you can see in the pink is where the adjustment is going to be made. And what he incorporated in with this mask is a brush where you can remove the effect, because this is going to apply it globally, and it already has. So there's no brush it here, there's no amount. But you go over to this area here, you see it says Lift Shadows, and then you've got an amount slider. So if you want to lift more shadows, you can just bring it over. If you want to bring the shadows back down to 0. So I just want to bring these up a little bit. So if you look over here, in the middle it's 100%, or I don't know if it's a percent or 100. I don't want it that high. I'm going to probably do around 50. But I don't want it up here, so I can click on this remove, and it gives me a brush. Oh boy, it's stuck. Okay, so I'm looking at my brush features here. I got it in my flow all the way up, which is where I want it. And I don't want that in the top here. I don't want to affect any of that in the top part here. So now when I hover over, you can see I painted all that out. So it's just affecting the bottom part of my image. And when you're done, you just turn off the masking panel. And then you can go on, there's mid-tone contrast, regular contrast, and he's got a dodge brush where you can lighten things up. There's also a burn brush down here. And then he created 3 different burn, like dodge highlights, dodge midtones, dodge shadows. So you want to lighten up any of the highlights, the midtones, or the shadows. And the same with down here, you can darken the highlights, the midtones, or the shadows. Let me go up to here, see if I want to do that. You know, I kind of want to lighten up this little area here, this really dark area. So I am going to dodge shadow. So I'm going to click on this. And like I said, this tells you it's a mask and a brush. So I click on that. I go over to the masking panel. And there's my dodge shadows. So I click on it. And then I click on the brush. So the only place I want it is right in here. Now my flow, I'm going to up that to about 30. I don't want it all the way. Just go in here. Get down there a little bit. Yeah, maybe here too. Just painting over them. And you can see here in the pink where I painted. And if I turn it on and off, let's hope this works. You can see what I've done. And that's all I really wanted it to do. So I'll go over here and turn it off. So this is where you can, and you don't have to, like I said, I hardly use, I don't use half of them. Less than half, I would say, a third of all of these little things. But if you want them and the selections are there, otherwise, if you were doing this on your own, you would have to go into your masking panel. You'd have to choose highlights or midtones, and you'd have to use the slider to create the tone that you want to target, and then you have to go in and create a brush. See, all this is just already created, so you just go in there and you just click on it. It takes a while to get used to, but once you do it, it's pretty cool. And yeah.
Barb, could you show the zone system number 7?
Okay. That one is I don't use that because once you click on it, it creates 10 masks. But I will do that just for you, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, what this does is it creates a mask for every tone, just like Ansel Adams' zone system. So you can see here you got pure white, light. I don't know if I can make that bigger. Every tone is in here. So, and they're all turned off, so they're not. When you want to use it, you can turn them on. Here's pure black. So you can see that, and then you can edit according to the tone, the zone. So let's go to here. This is almost black. It's almost the same. Zone 2 and zone 3. Let's turn this off. Let's do. I want to do a light. Turn that up. Oh. Here we go. Nope. All right. Well, so here we have this, and if I want to. Oh, what am I doing here? Okay, so I'm. Anyway, like I said, I've never used this because now I have to go in and delete all these other masks. But you can. I think this is just to see where all the zones are, so you can turn them all on. So all the masks, are they on? So there's pure black. Oh God. Yeah, this, like I said, I don't use this, so I really can't explain.
I think you need to turn them all off and then just look at one at a time to make sure that you actually have something in the zone. I think that's what he's trying to do here. Yeah,
probably.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. It is really cool. I mean, I didn't, like I said, I don't. This is not something that I use because now I have to go and delete them all. But he has with the program. Now this is a program. I think it's $40, and actually I have a discount for everybody. He gave me a discount, and if you want to get it, if you don't, you don't have to. It's not a big deal. But he also had, so with that comes basically like a written PDF that you can go through and he'll learn. But there's also a tutorial, a video tutorial that he made, which to me was like gold. And it's more expensive. I think it was $150 or something. But there was no way I was gonna understand everything just from watching, his little intro. But if it's something that you like and you want to learn how to use it, he does go into it in a lot more detail. I'm like that. If there's something that someone talks about and I'm not interested, I can tune them out. I'm real good at that. Excuse me. So the cloud sculpting is really cool. If you ever go out like you were talking, remember when we went out that time for our sunset we didn't get, and we got a lot of clouds, a lot of stormy clouds. This really works well, as well as adding contrast to the sky. If you're doing like a sunrise, a sunset where the sun is right at the horizon and it's just like really, really bright, you can darken just the part at the horizon and it feathers out. You can darken just the top of the sky, manage your highlights, and then if you ever go crazy with some of your edits, this will fix halos. That's something I've never used. I don't go that far. And of course, there's your zone system. And then this is another one. He wanted to detail, and I just kind of tuned it out. But if you are into printing, this will give you the clipping warnings, so that I guess stuff that won't print. But this is really handy too with people that print. So those are just the tonal adjustments. Let me close that, and then we get into the color. Again, here I don't use everything. So this is just an evaluate. What it does, if you click on it, you can see up here in the navigator, it blurs everything and it kind of saturates a little bit. So you can see what colors are predominant and where they are. And then they have, of course, an inverted section. So the opposite on the color wheel, if you want to look at that. Again, that does nothing for me, but some people really like that kind of stuff. So, and then here you have the saturation. If you want to up the saturation in a certain area, we can do that. Let's click on that. Come on. There we go. And this is slower for me because I'm recording this. I don't think it'll be that slow for you. So when you click on the saturation, you can increase saturation. That's what that arrow means. I don't know what this other thing is. Or you can decrease saturation. So I want to increase the saturation in this little section here. So I'm going to click on that. Click on my brush. Make this a little smaller. I'm going to reduce the flow a little bit, otherwise it'll be unreal. And I'm just going to paint where I want to increase the saturation. Just here. I'll get a little bit of that blue out, a little bit of that magenta, the purples. Alright, let's see. Turn it on, it's off, and you see it. You can see what it's done. And any of these excuse me, there is, like I showed you before, the amount slider. So if you put all this in there and you're like, it's just a little bit too much, rather than going back and hitting the minus and trying to get it right, you can just reduce it here just a little bit, or you can really crank it up if you want. You can leave it at where you were. All right.
Barbara?
Yeah.
We're interested in purchasing this. Do we get like a code or something after I become a member, of course? But
I'm sorry.
Do we get a code or something to purchase it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'll put it out on the. Yeah, how am I going to do that? I don't want to. Yeah, apparently other people are hopping in here. I want it just to be for members.
Well, I'm going to become a member right after this.
What's that?
I'm going to become a member right
Oh, no,
after.
I'm not worried about you. I'm just worried about other people just surfing the web and saying, oh, look at this.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess we email you.
Yeah, I can. I'll probably just do that and send an email. Or I could put it, we have a members only section that you have to have a password to get into. I can put it in there. Okay. So everybody, everybody that's attended will know. It's just a code. It's very simple. Yeah, everybody will get the discount. 20% discount. He offered this as an introductory rate, and I was so excited about this whole thing that I emailed him. I said, hey, David, I said, I want to do a thing for my camera club. I said, I got to learn this a little bit first before I, start talking about it. And he goes, oh, yeah, yeah. So he says, yeah, no problem. Here, use this code, and it'll be good forever. I said, okay, great. All right, so back to, so that was the saturation with the brush. We did that. And now these, so saturation boost. What this does is it uses the, oh shit, what is it called again? Sorry. The calibration panel. I use this a lot to increase saturation. So if you want just a subtle boost of saturation, now again, let's look up here in the navigator panel. So I'll just hover over and you can see what it does. So there's, and you can't really see much. Go to the moderate. Now that upped the oranges quite a bit. And then the strong. Basically, it's just upping the blue saturation slider in the calibration. And I go in there, so I usually like to go to the strong. So you can see here, it upped it to 100. And that really, I mean, that really brought out all the colors. It really does a good job. Now, in this situation, it works well. But when I was editing my fall foliage colors, it did okay. But I also used, you can go in here and play with these as well. You know, like I said, you can go in there and move anything. All of these are just, they're essentially presets, but you decide what you want to do with them. Maybe we'll come down a little bit on that. So takes it down to 66, and then the low saturation will be at 33. So, and then you can do the same with the vibrance. You can increase the vibrance everywhere. This is just the mask. You can increase the vibrance with a brush. If you have some oversaturated colors, like I think this orange is a little oversaturated. Generally, I will go in with my color mixer and do something with that, but we can do it here. So I want to do it with a brush because I want to paint. So I'm going to desaturate oversaturated colors. Let's go back to our panel. Click on that and click on the brush. So I'm gonna pop that into 50 here. So I'm gonna start painting. I just want to tone down those oranges. It's a little garish. Whoa. Now let's see. There. Yeah, not a whole lot of difference, but subtlety. I can crank it to 100% and we'll see. There. I guess when I show, I shouldn't be so subtle. Okay. There, now you can see it. There's off. Quite a bit difference. So, and then if you want to even crank it up higher, you can take the amount slider. There, and I just got rid of all color. I wouldn't do that, but you know, take the slider, play with it. Play with it, go up and down, see where you like it, see where it lands. I kind of like that. Okay, I'll turn that mask off. Go back. And these three here, the blues, I really like these. If you ever start playing with it, you start increasing the saturation, you start increasing the contrast, and all of a sudden, if you've got a blue sky in your image, it's like wonky blue, and this will control the blues in the sky. It really does a good job. Same thing with the water. This one here, I had one, matter of fact, for my last trip. It was a blue sky day, and I wasn't shooting the sky, but the water was very blue, so I used that, got rid of that, and then you can, reduce the saturation. So, and then we have the same thing for yellows. A lot of times, if you go out, I know we don't have a lot of that here, but if you ever get out into yellow foliage, and it's, if you got a bright sunny day and that thing just like nuclear, this will tone them down. It will control the greens, and I will show that in a couple of other samples. But this one here, Fall Color Pop. Now I love this one. I won't use it on this image, but it really just increases the yellows and the oranges, and it just warms them up and it brightens them up. And you don't need a whole lot. You can just slide that a little bit and it works well. I'll show it to you on a couple of these other ones. And then you can add a little bit of warmth. You can color grade, you can color dodge, so you brighten with color. And then this is a point color thing that I don't use. I don't use, like I said, I don't use all of them. But this is how you can play with the colors in here, and it really does a great job. So let's reduce that. Go to the 5th one. Okay, and these are the details. This is where it's. Oh yeah, I'm thinking the effects. So if you don't use the denoise AI feature in the beginning or at the end, if you don't want to use it, you can use this. This just uses the luminosity in the detail panel. And I think it merges it with a sky. I don't use that. You can reduce noise just with a paintbrush. So you choose where you want to reduce the noise. If you just want to reduce noise in the shadows. Here, micro contrast, I really like this when I want, if I got something really detailed like a rock or something like this would be really good. Here, let's try it. Micro contrast. This is an AI thing. Let's go over. Oh, where are we? Okay. You can see where it's hitting, and I don't know where it's picking that up. Oh, my computer's really getting slow. So it looks like it's selecting the lights and the darks, and then it gets rid of the sky. Yeah, so these are the lights, darks. Anyway, so let's go over here. It just adds it blanketly. So here you got to set at 50, but you can increase that. And if I go up, you can see how it really crunches. It can really crunch this thing up. I wouldn't go that high, but this is 0. It really adds a nice little pop. A little bit more definition. So that's one of my favorite ones too. Close that out. And then of course there's clarity and length, which I've never used. Detail and texture. This is where you can sharpen different areas. You can sharpen with a brush. You can sharpen with high detail, artifact free, all that kind of stuff. I just use a regular sharpening. But this one here, now this was actually in another section, and I moved it because I don't want to put a vignette on something until I'm done, which I'm not really done yet, but I will click on this. Now I am going to go back to the normal size here so we can see this better. Okay. So open up my mask, move it, click on the vignette. So it adds a radial gradient, and a little tip: if you push the Shift and the Control or Command button at the same time, and you drag it to the left, make it smaller, drag it to the right, you make it bigger. So, okay. It's a little slow. Okay, there we go. So I usually make it smaller so I can drag the circle out a little bit more. And what it does when you click on the vignette, it reduces the exposure and the contrast in the basic panel, and it uses it at 25%. So you can see here, and if I turn it off, it's very subtle. If you want it more, you can always increase it. You don't want it that bad, but you might want it that much if you're trying to make something look historic or whatever. But you can adjust how much. You can adjust the feathering if you want. All right, we're slowing down now. Here we go. So if I want to adjust the feathering, I could do that. I want to make it real feathered. Bring it down. So, and you get to choose. But anyway, we'll leave it like that. I'm going to turn this off. Go back to normal. Okay. So that was the 5th. Okay, this is the landscape effects. Now this is where you can add light. And I don't know how this is different than dodging. He does a really good job in his tutorial on how he uses it. Let's go in here. So add light. I think it's with an AI. So you can add light with a brush. And I think this is something you want to use if you've got like sunlight coming in and you can actually see the sun coming from a certain direction. Come on. Sorry, everything's slowing down here. So I am going to. And if you just want to enhance that light coming in, like let's say I got it coming in from the right. It's essentially just a brush, but it's supposed to be with sky because it does have sky in here. But that's how that would work. I'm just going to delete this because it don't look good here. The same thing here with you can remove light. A lot of it is he uses the example of with a mountain. If you go out and shoot mountains a lot. Light bleed, that's this really cool effect. It won't look good on this. You can make sunbeams, you can do a low key, you can do high key. Now you got atmospheric perspective. This one I've never used, but I love these here. So you got misty morning and fog, and you can remove the background haze if you've got it. You can add a glow. You can add a warm glow, a luminous glow. I love the luminous glow. Twilight glow. This is great for like, twilight shots. And the desert glow. So I'm going to click on this because it is a desert. There we go. So he created the mask as a light selection and he subtracted the sky. So it's only going to be on the mountains. And then got a brush. So I'm going to add a little glow up here to the top. So you can see what that did. That's a little bit too much. Let me bring that down just a tad. So about at 40. So that's the kind of thing. Another one I like, you got the Orton effects. There's different, you can retain details. I really like the ethereal effect. If you're doing like woodlands, they're really nice. Painterly effect is real nice. I used it a couple times. So you just got to, play with them. Anything that you like, I sat here for hours and just clicked on every single one to see what it did. And it's pretty cool. Then you can go in here, you can enhance the foreground. Basically, it'll brighten it up and then I think add a little more clarity to it just for the area in the front here. The soften tones, you can do monochromatic, so kind of essentially one color scheme. You can make it silvery. Oh, here, you can see it better. Sorry about that. Another one, dramatic sky, punchy sky, sky glow. There's all different things you can do with this. Turn this off.
I love the names he comes up with, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you kind of look at it, and I thought it pretty much looks like everything else, but they're just subtle differences. Now this last one here, like I said, he just created plain masks. So instead of going into the lights, you can click lights, but it's just easier. So if you want to just do something and just affect the light tones, so I'll click on it and I'll show you what it does. Oh, where is it? Here we go. So it just basically makes a mask with the lights, and then you do the adjusting. So if I want to bring the exposure down a little bit, maybe I want to raise the contrast in the lights, maybe I want to reduce the highlights in there just a little bit. So yeah, oh my god, look at all that. And then you can choose how many versions of the light you want to use. So yeah, there's that. And generally when I use this, I'll just leave the mask open instead of turning it off, but it will slow things down a little bit. So you can do the same with the darks, you can do the same with midtones, you can create a feathered landscape where it, I think it comes from the bottom. The landscape, this will choose, I don't know if you've used the landscape AI, it'll pick out water, it'll pick out ground, sky, and mountains, I believe. And now if you've upgraded your Lightroom, it will also pick up snow, which we don't have to worry about here. I wish it would do sand. Targeted landscape. So all these different masks that you would, it's not anything you can't do. Everything that's here is stuff you can do on your own. It just takes time, and he just kind of put it all out there where it's pretty simple. And then here at the end, he created some links. So if you ever question, you're looking at it going, oh my god, how did he do this? So you can just click on this. I thought it brought up a website. Maybe it doesn't. Anyway, yeah, did it? No website. Anyway, so yeah, here you see, remember the lens corrections I talked about in the first section? I moved it. I didn't delete it. I didn't want to get rid of it, but I just moved it because I'll never use it. So these are just, links to his workshop. I think you have to copy it. Anyway, I don't ever go in there, so. But it's available. So I'm going to stop magnifying because it's a pain in the butt. So now you've seen everything, and I know you're probably going, oh my god, what that looks so overwhelming. But the cool thing is that you go in sections. You just start, and then once you start doing it, because a lot of people, he, like I said, he runs workshops, and he gets the opportunity to talk to a lot of people, beginners and some people that have been doing it a long time, and they all, a lot of people will love to go out and take pictures, but they don't want to do anything with them once they get home because they're so overwhelmed by the processing software. They're like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do. For me, I had no problem jumping into Lightroom and just going crazy with the sliders when I first started. But some people do. And so this was kind of like the way why he created it. And then he took the Adobe recommended hierarchy into play here. Like I said, I'm not going to start. The denoise is going to be, I'm going to move that. I just haven't yet. So let's go to a different image, and I'll show you the fall foliage. How about that one? Okay. So this is this is how it was imported. And this is horrible looking because this is almost like the one I put on Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen what. This is just a different view. This is very yellow. Yeah. So the white balance is off. It's very oversaturated. So let's see if we can fix it. This is what I would do personally. So I'm going to zero out the settings, which didn't really do that much because it is pretty punchy. I don't need to merge anything. I don't have any panels. I don't have focus stacks. I'm not going to denoise. I had an ISO 400, but it's not noisy. Looks pretty good. And you can decide if you want to denoise it. It's up to you. If you've got noise and you don't like it, get rid of it. Or if you don't mind looking at it, get rid of it at the end. I don't need raw details. Don't need super resolutions. Oh, you know what? I am going to remove a distraction. So I'm going to click on that just so I know what I'm doing. There is a branch here, and I don't like that. It looks like something broke. Oh, I hit the clip. Don't do it at the crop. Let me unclick the visualize spots here. Let me zoom in, and I'm going to use the generative AI here because I don't want to mess anything up. So I'm just going to go in here, get rid of that. Let's see, is there anything else? Yeah, let's get rid of this too. I am not one that has a problem with removing things that are distracting. Some people do, and that's okay. Everybody has their own line in the sand. Okay. Look at that. Let's see. What it's got. Something better here. Oh, that looks good. I like the second one. Perfect. Perfect enough. Okay, so we got that. There aren't any dust spots. If there are, you're not going to see them. There's no sky, so I don't have to balance. I am going to do the lens corrections if they're not already. I'm going to evaluate the shapes. Inverted. Now this now if you follow me on Instagram and you saw the picture, it looks just like it. I actually moved it up higher. You're going to see more of the branches. So I am going to crop this because I don't want all this. This is all about these funky trees. All right, let's where are we going here? Yeah, that looks good. I don't want to cut off this tree, and I don't want to cut off that tree. Ooh, I gotta get it a little bit bigger. There we go. Perfect. Well, not perfect. Nothing's perfect, especially on my photos. So you can evaluate your shapes, and now we're gonna go to white balance. This is what really needs to work. So you can see my vibrance and saturation have been zapped to 100. So I am going to fix. Really bring down those blues and there. That's too much. Now this tree, this is a yellow birch, and I want it yellow, but I don't want to. I want this balanced. So doing the white balance. Now this is just regular. Advice on color balance. You want to balance the whole scene. You can, if you want something with more color or a different color, you can do that in another section. But here you want to just make everything even. So there's going to be a little bit of blue in here, a little bit more. Okay, so I'm good with that. That looks a little bit more like it. Yeah, they were moving. I got some moving ferns, so anyway, so that section's done. I'm done with number 1. Let me go to number 2. We've got a pretty high dynamic range here. We got all the way to the darks, almost touching the brights. So I'm going to probably go to the extreme or the high dynamic range section. And like I said before, I like the lower medium contrast. Like that. Let's try low, medium. Ooh, I like that low. I think I like this one. There we go. So you can see this is already 100% improved just from those couple of clicks. The rest is just like great. I like the cherry on top. So tonal adjustments. Now I'm looking at it going, I really don't think I need any tonal adjustments because I like where the color or the brightness is. I'm going to show you what that fall color pop is shortly. So I'm not going to do anything with the, I don't need to lift. You know what you know what, there is something I want to do. I'm going to do a little dodging on the tree trunks where the light was hitting it, because it's just to bring that out a little bit. I'm going to click on that, click on my brush, make that a little smaller. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to brush the right, so the light was coming in from the right. Here a little bit. Come down here on this part. Down here. Get over here. So anywhere the light was hitting it, I just want to enhance it just a little bit. Anywhere else? Let's see, what did that do here? So, a little bit, let's see. Get up on the top. Yeah, we get up in there a little bit better. That's good enough. So that's pretty much all I want to do in the tonal. Like I said, I don't do everything because it's just not necessary. And now I do have another image in here where it is as flat as a pancake, and that needs a lot of work. So now we're in the color. Now this is pretty colorful. There's one thing that I did, and I'm upset that I posted it last night without fixing it, is the greens. I mean, look at these greens. They're just unreal. So I want to go down to that natural greens. So I'm going to click on that one. Let's pull it open. And here it's set at 50. I'm going to bring it down. Bring it down. That's where it was originally. Now this is removing all the greens, or toning down the greens. I think it's making the greens more like an olivey color, but it also takes the greens out of the leaves, which I don't want. So I'm going to bring this back. It's like a little dance. So I just want to make this not so, dark lime green. That looks pretty good. That looks alright, I guess. Come on. Oh. There we go. Okay. I'm going to do a saturation boost. We give it a little bit. We don't have any water, no blues in the sky. Here we go. Fall color pop. Boom. Watch this. Oh. Don't get stuck on me. I mean, look at that. I just really, it really went crazy. So I'm going to turn it off. There's it off. There's it on. So it really just brightens up the yellows. And that's just way too high of an effect. So I'm going to bring that down to like 20. So I want a little bit of pop in those leaves because it was pretty bright in real life. So you can see just a little bit there. Maybe go a little higher. Maybe a little higher. That looks good. Yeah. Yeah, so if there's any situation, now it doesn't even have to be fall color. If you've got any yellows or greens in your image that you really want to add oomph, you can hit this fall color pop and it really looks cool. So yeah, I'm done with the color. And I go to the next, and I got no sky, and don't want to, there's no noise. Not going to detail. I am going to put a vignette on it. And when I'm done, I'm going to talk about, what time is it? Oops, 8:30 already. Wow, we only got through 2 images. I think we've learned quite a bit. Again, Shift and Controller Command. You can reduce the... I love that. I didn't know that until I got this thing. All right. That looks perfect. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. And then here are the extras. Now, let's say I wanted to make it, very painterly. So let's put a painterly effect on it. I click on that, and it's just gonna soften everything. You can kind of see it already did. You can see the background is kind of all glowy. See this is at 200%. And you can see here what it's done. There's like no detail. So let's dial that back a little bit here. So I'm at like 60. Let's see what it's doing here with the leaves. Now this is something that was, we went out, I don't think anybody here was on that trip. We went out, did the Gator Hook Trail. Oh yeah, Mike was there. And remember, it was super foggy, and it was just gorgeous. Now I had a picture. I was running a little bit late, and I couldn't believe this, so I pulled out my camera. I'm in the car. I got my foot on the brake. I didn't even put it in park. And I got my hand underneath the long lens resting on the car, and I'm taking pictures. Obviously, one of them turned out okay, but the composition wasn't very good. The one that I did like the composition was blurry. And so I just softened the hell out of it. And it actually looked really good. So when you do have something that you want to, you can't really save it, but you can make it into something else, and it really turns out well. So this is the kind of thing you could use to do that. If I had this at the time, I could have just gone like that with this slider and been here we go, done. I like it right here though. So I'm gonna turn that off. I don't need an Orton. It's basically like an Orton effect. It brightens and it softens everything. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do one more image, and I'll show you what it does. This sky here. So yeah, that's pretty much all I would do with this image. I might go back in. This had a little bit of blue in it. These normally aren't blue, so I would probably go back into the normal. Oh, not that one. Color mixer. And I'm going to bring that blue saturation down just a little bit. So you can see it's really subtle, but it gets that blue out of the bark there. Put a little bit more.
Barbara?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was I was looking it up. You said Gator Hook, whatever the name was, but
Yeah.
that's in Florida, right?
What's that?
Is that in Florida?
Oh yeah, it's in the Big Cypress.
I never seen these colors. That's
Yeah.
great.
Oh no, this is not this. No, no, no,
Oh, okay.
no. It was a different image. A different image. No. I'm sorry.
Okay.
No.
I'm
I.
there tomorrow. I want to go there.
Oh yeah. No, no. Sorry. This was in Upper Michigan. I was just there
Oh,
a couple weeks ago.
I looked it up and Gator, and an hour away, and I'm saying, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go there right now.
Yeah. No, you're not gonna find this in Florida.
Oh, I know. I was like, where is that? Let's see. But okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'll show you that picture. That was just saying, for instance, what I had done. No, this I was actually walking around. Um, yeah, this is. Oh no, this is in Wisconsin. This is in northern Wisconsin.
Okay.
Um, in an old growth forest.
Yeah,
It's just,
that sounds more like it now.
yeah, it's just beautiful up there, man. Oh God.
Yeah,
Ah,
Michigan's UP is only about 2,000 miles away from us, so it's a
yeah,
little bit more than an hour drive.
Right.
yeah,
Oh, I know. I only see green here at where I'm at. So
yeah.
wow, that's incredible.
All right. Well, give me a sec here. Give me a sec. Where is it? When did we go there? May? Gator hook. Here we go. Here we go.
Okay,
This is the one.
that's more like it.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it's blurry. Here, this is the one without the blur. Everything was soft. Nothing was sharp. Front, back. I mean, maybe that tree, but the one that was this one. But I didn't like that. I like this one. So I just went totally soft on it. I reduced the clarity and I reduced the texture, and I thought, wow, this came out pretty cool. So
Yeah,
sometimes you can save stuff like that.
yeah.
But yeah,
There's a place that I've heard about. It's called Takahashi, here in Florida. It's about what, an hour and a half, 2 hours or something. Is
yeah.
that a pretty nice place to go
Oh
to?
yeah, absolutely. We've been there. We go all over the place down here. Yeah, Fakahatchee. Um, um, we were just there. Did we go there this past year? I went there. I went. I usually go away for my birthday, and it's summertime, so I go out and try to find summer storms. And I was out there, so back in June. Yeah, it's beautiful out there. But it all pretty much looks alike.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
this wasn't actually on the trail. This was on right off Loop Road on your way to the trail.
Okay.
So this was just shot right out the car window.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had no idea there was any fog. None. I get out there and I'm like, oh my God, look at the fog. 'Cause I go crazy for fog.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get back to my thing, collection. Okay. All right, so this. Look at that. Whoops. Oh, where'd I go? Come back. There we go. All right, so let's go back to our thing. So this is with the import preset applied. Did I do that? Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. And then I'm going to zero out the settings. So this is going to get rid of all of the adjustments it made. And what do I got here? Oh boy, look at all this stuff. Why didn't it zero this out? Let's reset the whole thing. There we go. There we go. Sorry, I had already worked on this one, so I thought it would reset everything. So this is what it would look like with the import settings. And then I would zero the settings, so it would be flat. I got no merging, nothing to do. I'm not going to denoise. Let's see what the visualize spots here. You know, lots of sky means lots of spots. Oh, there we got one. See, this is what a spot's going to look like in this thing here. So, take the generative off. Get rid of that baby. See if we got any more. Sure, we got tons. Actually, you know, I did clean this not too long ago, so I shouldn't have that many. I probably got a bunch now. Yeah. So I'll go in there and get rid of that mask. Do it the old-fashioned way. I kind of do it both ways because I'm kind of, oops. I'm a stickler for dust spots. If you've ever printed and you miss a dust spot, you all of a sudden you're going to be like, I am looking everywhere. Oh, there's another one. I don't know if that's a dust spot or not, but we'll get rid of it. Anyway, we won't be bothered with that. Okay. Lens corrections. Now, I'm going to click on this balance land and sky. I'll show you what this does. This is an AI thing, obviously. So you click on it. And this gives you, it did a sky selection and a linear gradient. So you click on that and you can adjust where you want it to go. Oh, now I'm stuck. Oh, come on. So let's say I want to, this is basically just darkening the sky. But if I want to make that even more, I can just slide the amount slider over. I don't want to do that because I really like that dramatic sky. But that's what the darkened sky thing is, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but I want to show you the things that I couldn't show you before. So let's see. I don't need that. And this style on, you don't always even need to use that. So, okay, add contrast to sky. Let's click on that. So you can see we really darkened that dark part, which I don't like that much. So I am going to pull back on that a little bit. This one's a hard one to do because of the difference, the light and dark over here. But so you can see what it does, the sky selection and then contrast. So it's selecting all of it. Ooh, cloud sculpting. Let's try that. So when you click on the cloud sculpting, you can lighten clouds. Say I want to lighten up. Let's up. I just want to lighten this. I don't want to lighten the left side because it's so bright. So I can lighten them. And then I can go to this other one and I can darken the clouds. So it creates two. Let's say I want to darken these over here on the left. Give it a little bit more pop. Is this doing anything? Yeah. So you can see where it darkened the clouds on the left and lightened a little bit there on the right. Oh, Jesus, yeah. Anyway, so that is the cloud thing, and when you've got like some really cool clouds, that you could go crazy with that. We did the contrast, darkened sky. Oh, I don't have a sunrise. Well, let's try it. Darkened sky at the horizon. Let me click on that. Ooh. Yeah, I don't use this very often either. So yeah, here is you can move it to tell it where you want it. That's pretty garish. Ooh. Yeah, is Ray here? No, he was out there with me. And it was unbelievable. That was amazing. It's funny. We did 3 different events in June to do a stormy sky, and we got none. In August, we went out to do the moonrise and sunset, and it was this. So it's like we just couldn't win this year. But this was some pretty amazing.
Yeah, and in the end, it was canceled because the heavy clouds opened up and it rained like crazy.
Oh, we didn't cancel, but we just we didn't get what we were looking for. But yeah, I caught this. Manage sky highlights. So if you've got some really bright highlights, you can click on that. So this is a sky selection and highlight. And you can just do as much or as little as you like. Let's see, there's another one that has clouds in here. Color? No. Oh, we can try the blue. Reduce some blues in the sky. Let's see what that does. There's not a whole lot of blues in there. You can kind of see a little bit. Look here on the right where it's really dark. When I pull that back. So it's adjusting a little bit. So it's taking out enough. You've got a really, really blue sky, which none of my photos here do. But that's that. Reduce noise. Ooh, here. Dramatic sky. Ooh, look at that did. So you just one click and it did that. And you can just click on the mask and you can make it even more so or bring it down a little bit. Spooky. Punchy sky. I don't know what the difference is, but that looks pretty cool too. You can play with them both, I guess. Ooh, yeah. Okay. Now here, foreground, I'll show you what foreground enhances. So if you click on the foreground enhance, see how it lightened it up here? I'm going to click on the mask. And if you do get this and you want to look, if you click on the mask, you can see, so it selects a foreground with a linear gradient, and you can see what it's doing over here on the right. You can look at the sliders. He pre-programmed these sliders. So he upped the highlights, he upped the whites, and the clarity, and a little bit of texture. So this, let's see, this is what's being affected. Now, if there was a part of it that I didn't want, I can just click on this brush again. I don't want it here. I don't want it anywhere in the sky. Just one click and it gets rid of it. Come on, there you go. See? And if it's not punchy enough, you can always raise the whites up here a little bit. You can even do whatever you like. Nothing is set in stone. These are just tools. And if you want to change the color a little bit, do whatever you like. Let's click on Sky Glow. Oh. So it adds a little bit of yellow to it. I don't think that looks good, but let's get rid of that. Does anybody have any questions about anything I'm doing? I know I'm just assuming everybody knows Lightroom. Is that an accurate assumption? No, I guess so. I'm just shutting these down here. So that's what that does. Let's see what some greens here. We got time yet? Here's some, I wanted to show you that green thing. Where is that? That's in the color. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. I've already processed this. So let's say I wanted the natural greens. I kind of like the greens the way they were, but if you wanted to change them, so I click that. So that will, I believe he used color mixer. You know what? I really don't know how he created this mask, but anyway, so you can just do the amount. This was the original. Let's say I want to tone those down just a little bit, make it a little bit more not so green. So that's something you can do there. If you wanted to, the effects. I just love this effects thing. Let's pretend it was foggy. So I'm going to add a fog layer. It wasn't foggy. So here, this is a brush. So I can add the fog. So I'm going to click on that brush. Let me bring this down. So it just gives you the illusion of fog.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. And I'm like, I don't like what that's doing there. So I'm gonna hit the Alt or Option key, and remove that from these trunks, especially the close-up ones. Let's try the Misty Morning. So this one does the whole thing for you. Let's turn these off. Let's do a Warm Glow. Increase that. Oof. Yeah, maybe not. Here, let's look at this one. I want to try that Twilight Glow. This wasn't Twilight, but it was so dark in there. Let's click on it and see what it does. So it can make it look almost like it's nighttime. Or that silvery effect. Let's try that one. It's almost black and white. Oh. But if you're looking to play with some different effects to your images, you can play around with it and soften everything. Yeah, didn't really do much. And that Misty Morning works. Ooh-wee. So yeah, that's that. Does anybody want me to try anything else? I know it's a lot to dump on you all at once, but I'm really impressed. I'm gonna.
Will also open up in Photoshop, right, under the raw section.
You know, I don't know if this works in Camera Raw. That you'd have to. I really don't know.
Okay.
It might. It should. I mean, if it does, Camera Raw does have presets, right? You can use. Yeah, then it should. Yeah. I'm gonna stop sharing this. So where is it? There we go. Oh, look at everybody here. Okay. What was I gonna say now? Oh shit. I had something I was gonna say. Yeah, this is, it's a tool just like anything. If it's something that you think would help, your processing. If you were one like me that really like to get in and do things that I didn't, I know what I like to do and I know how I do things, but sometimes with a little bit of help from something like this, it really, it isn't.
I just went to their website. Yeah, it says it's a complete Rethink preset toolkit for Lightroom and Adobe Camera Raw.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, if you do, if you go to the website, he does have a little bit of a tutorial where you can watch him explain things a little bit. It's not going to be as long. I think it's like 5 minutes. He did I want to say it was an hour-long webinar back when he launched it, and that might be also available somewhere on his website. And look around, and if you want it, if this is something you're interested in, take a look. I'll give you the code. Where did I? Let me look here. I can tell you what it is. Kingham. Rethink. Oh, okay, yeah. So the 20% discount is this Barb, like my name, Barb 20 for 20% off. So I will put that in an email or something. I'll let everybody know. But yeah, it's just Barb 20. If you forget, you can ask me again. And like I said, there is I think it's $40 for just the program, and then there is another one for the tutorials, and it's quite extensive. He really goes in depth and shows you how to use some of these things. So, anybody have any questions? No? Oh, it's almost 9 o'clock. Wow, this went a long time. Sorry, I was late again. Traffic, that's just the way it is.
Barb, what was his website?
I got it on our website.
Okay, I'll get it. I'll just pull off there.
DavidKingham.com.
No, actually, that's not.
That's not his?
Here.
I have it here. It's called exploringexposure.com.
Explore exposure here.
Exploring Exposure.
Yeah, so if you go to our website and you go up to the events tab, this is where everything is. This is our thing. So I've got links. This is Rethink Landscape. You click on that. So here he has a little tutorial, and you can learn more about it. And this is what he did. Of course, he lives out west, so he's got all the mountains and stuff. But yeah, he really goes into it, and he does why he created it, and so here, look at this. This is what it looks like on a Mac. All those little icons. So it's much better. He told everybody with a Windows computer, you need to write to Microsoft and tell them to up their game a little bit. But yeah, so he goes through all of these, and you can click on them, and you can read all about it. So we've got I think, where is it? Oh, and then he's going to have one for black and white coming too. So, I guess he's going to do one for nights. Yeah, got to keep yourself viable. Anyway, so yeah, that's where you can find all that information. And what I can do is send out another email just to everybody. I'll put the code in that email, and I'll include you. Rudy, yeah, I'll include you in that email, Rudy. And whether you join the club or not, you can get the discount.
Yeah. In fact,
okay.
I just put it in the cart now, and I'm going to check out on it.
Awesome.
A quick question. I'm sorry, I don't mean to ask this as a general thing.
That's okay.
Do you sometimes take trips like out of Florida to some place?
Yeah, I'm gonna stop recording so it doesn't